could be the best job in the world.
It could be. I like the way you said it, because last year, 24, I received more than 7,000 applications. Okay. Then when people start to engage a conversation with us and they realize that it's not a hobby, that it's a full-time job. So they are paid by Michelin and working only for the Michelin Guide. Then in addition to the meals, you have to write report, share with the teams, travel a lot, staying in hotels about 150 nights a year. Oh, some people just run away.
I was speaking to some people from your team yesterday. Actually, it was Mayada, who's an old friend of mine. And she told me that it was your first time in Saudi. Initial reactions upon arriving here, what's it like compared to what you thought it might be versus what you actually felt it was like on the ground?
No, let's say because, yes, that's my first time landing here, despite the fact that I've been traveling across more than 70 destinations working for the Michelin Guide. And let's say that the first impression is that you are warmly welcome. And then that, of course, there might be a lot of misconception about the destination and its culture. And I think it's also what is at stake with the project we're working on, is to put a spotlight on the destination and to give to the people the opportunity to experience by themselves and not just based on what they think it could be.
We're moving beyond, using our past to propel, sharing our culture, nature, heritage, hospitality, progress with the rest of the world. Welcome to our future. Welcome to Saudia, built on big ideas and a passion for change, inspired by heritage and progress, made by dreams and determination. We exemplify it all. Come find your place in it, with us. Our future starts now. Saudia. This is how we fly.
You are coming here to launch the Michelin Guide in Saudi Arabia. And I briefly asked you this question yesterday, and I maybe want to take my time a little bit with it this time. Typically, when Michelin enter a market, do you see the economic impact? Does that influence the market, the restaurant quality, the investment in the ecosystem of the restaurant world?
But again, we have to be quite humble because we know that we are one part of something much bigger, and it's a whole ecosystem that need to be put in place, let's say, to help the culinary landscape to grow even faster. Yet, based on our experience, because we have been establishing the guide over many more markets over the past few years, we feel that there are some impact, and well, I would say beyond the selection itself, is when the guide is putting the spotlight on a destination, it's also helping to put it on the roadmap to create awareness about it for the international travelers, but it's also sometimes contributing to lead the local food lovers to go outside, okay, to dine out even more. So that's a factor, because everything is starting with the clients. Then the impact of the Michelin Guide on the industry is that we also contribute to the attractiveness of the jobs, front of house, back of house, and you need talent to have a successful restaurant industry. So impact on the career, attractivity of the industry, and there are also a lot of ripples effects. And if you consider it, there is the first criteria of the Michelin Guide is about the quality of the products. And when you have high quality restaurants, you also contribute to create a demand for high quality products. And this will also, I hope, foster the emulation of the high quality food chain. So that's one other aspect for instance. So it's creating the market, boosting the industry, and contributing to the ecosystem. And well, I think we also need to mention the financial impact of it. When you have the ability, the opportunity to be recognized by the Michelin Guide, it can lead to additional investment, because it's international names would like to be recognized. It's important for their brand name. It's important for the career of their teams. So sometimes having the guide on a destination may attract further investment. So there are a lot of factors. If we compare with other destinations we have been launching years ago, for sure, the Michelin Guide has been a catalyst. And I think one important factor of it is also the human one. It's a promotion impact. When you give to the people the opportunity to push the boundaries, because they will be recognized beyond what they earn, okay? It's about the passion. And the recognition plays a very important role to push the industry to raise the bar year after year, creating a positive emulation context.
Mm-hmm. The way I look at it is, if I'm a chef and there is a city that I can go to where I can achieve a Michelin star, I will go there. And I think everything else takes care of itself. The restaurant will open, people will come, the economy will be boosted. People would want to travel to Riyadh now even more because Michelin has set up infrastructure there. So I expect good things will happen.
And it is also about setting the benchmark. When you have a clear reference, it's triggering that kind of effect and competition, and it can, let's say, ignite a virtual cycle.
Correct. You're in 32 countries. You just mentioned briefly how you travel a lot from one market to another. Has it been difficult for you to maintain a healthy work-life balance?
You know, for sure, that's a real challenge, because I've been traveling almost everywhere for the Michelin Guide. I started working to internationalize the guide, starting in the US, then spending a few years in Japan. So I've been used to travel while, let's say, managing as a balance with my family life. I'm a father of 5 girls. So I can tell you that when I'm back home, it's a real celebration.
Can imagine. Tokyo has been maybe the most famous city for Michelin stars, I would say. It's Michelin star country. When you go there, are you spoiled for options? Would you say it's the richest in the culinary world?
That's definitely a world apart. And for me, this destination in itself means a lot, even personally. You know, I started working for the guide 20 years ago. And we started the international expansion outside of Europe, where the Michelin Guide was born in 1900 in France. So expanding to the USA was important, but was not a game changer. But as soon as we started in Japan, it changed completely, because it also demonstrates the ability of the Michelin Guide to recognize a completely different food culture. So it was an immersive experience. It was a lot of work. It was a fascinating one. I can tell you then where we were facing the first selection work, we had a listing of more than 17,000 restaurants for Tokyo only. Then we had to shortlist, and we end up with a shortlist of more than 2,000 restaurants to review. So that's an enormous amount of work. So you have plenty of options, and you have to make sure that you let no stone unturned. And for me, the arrival in Japan was a game changer for the Michelin Guide, but also for the world gastronomy, because it created new trends. It helped, for example, the Japanese gastronomy to expand outside of Japan in one matter of real national pride. So even in Japan, the restaurant industry has been booming, after. And last but not least, it was seen in Japan as a major cultural change, because it was the openness to the world. For foreign people, Japanese restaurants in Japan turned to be accessible.
I saw a documentary maybe 7-8 years ago, of Jiro, the restaurant in the subway station. I mean, I don't know any country in the world that would have something, and I don't know if it was Michelin starred or not, but it was in 3 Michelin stars.
It's three Michelin star, and with a very informal setting, but very traditional and authentic Japanese food experience, using the best possible and available products, and incredible technique, craftsmanship. But just a few seats, and based on the inspector's feedback, the experience was lasting between 17 to 23 minutes. So that's a real experience, that's quite immersive. But that was also Japan has to offer to the world, and that's the uniqueness of its culture.
Fascinating. So the meal only lasted 17 to 23 minutes?
Absolutely, all in all.
That's quite efficient.
That's quite efficient, and let's say for them, the speed is also a way to guarantee the freshness. So this is a part of the concept, part of the experience, and it has a role to play with the taste. So it's really all that has a real meaning. So you have to respect it, to understand it. And that's what also is so fascinating and exciting when you are opening a new destination.
Truly. For those wondering, what does a tire company have to do with a restaurant and chef's grading system? Can you take us back to the inception of the company 125 years ago?
No, but for sure, the Michelin Guide was born in France in 1900. And at the beginning, it was a very practical tool designed to help motorists find their way, travel safer, faster, because cars were absolutely not reliable, and also advising people where to stay and where to eat. But it was practical. And then, rapidly, traveling went safer, easier, and the guide, late 1920, turned into lifestyle. It was just not about sharing practical advices, but it was about giving to the people a purpose to travel. And it's where the professional selection system was born, and where the star system has been established with a lot of consistency throughout the years.
What qualities do you look for with your inspectors? Have you ever been an inspector yourself, early days?
I have been working very closely with inspectors and trained as such as when I entered the company, but rapidly I've been known because I've been in charge of building the project. So today what matters is not my taste, but really is the taste of the inspectors, because they can work anonymously without bias. And back to their background, they all have been trained in the industry. So hospitality or cooking school, for example. Then we are hiring people that have been in a position in different restaurants, different hotels across the world, because we are willing them to be experienced. And when they join Michelin, after they have to complete a 2-3 years training program, which is really about working on the field with more senior inspectors to learn the Michelin Guide methodology, to acquire the knowledge and open-mindedness. Because not only they need to know their own food culture, but they need to be able to recognize the quality, whatever the style of the restaurants, whatever the culture, traditional, creative. So it requires a lot of expertise. And just in numbers, on average, an inspector is eating out lunch and dinner about 300 times a year. So basically twice every working day of the year. And so to complete a full training, that means that at the end of it, you have been eating in more than 1,000 restaurants for the Michelin Guide. So anonymously in all the categories and across the world. And that's an incredible value because the experience really matters.
It could be the best job in the world.
It could be. I like the way you said it, because last year, 24, I received more than 7,000 applications. Okay. Then when people start to engage a conversation with us and they realize that it's not a hobby, that it's a full-time job. So they are paid by Michelin and working only for the Michelin Guide. Then in addition to the meals, you have to write report, share with the teams, travel a lot, staying in hotels about 150 nights a year. Oh, some people just run away. And then I think what makes a difference beyond training, professionalism, and of course commitment, because making it a way of living and not just a passion require a lot of engagement and commitment. What we really value is open-mindedness, because for me that's the key point that will enable them to recognize the quality regardless of the context, to be able to step back and to avoid any kind of individual bias. And the more experienced you are, let's say, the more open-minded you become.
Interesting. When they're in the restaurant, surely they're not going in with pens and notepads, or else they'll be made.
No, I would say they really don't need. However, they are just taking pictures like any other regular guest. And frankly, if you don't take a picture in a restaurant today, you are suspicious. Okay, so but when you are really doing that as a full-time job, you also develop some abilities, especially, the memory about food. And I have to say that, when we meet with the inspector for the final decision meetings, it's a very emotional moment, because really you discover what the results are, because you can gather all the different opinions and openly share. Nobody is bringing notes. There is only one laptop in the room, just to record the decision. And despite the fact that we have, fully connected database and all that, they have everything in their head. And when we share about the different dossier, they can share the conclusion very easily and really align as a team because the collective decision-making process is also part of their know-how.
And we have numerous in the field in Saudi today as we speak.
Inspectors are in the house. They have already been monitoring the evolution of the local culinary scene over the past few years, but just, working for missions, couple of weeks, months. Then we are starting to review, let's say, all possibilities. And the process we are starting officially today will continue hopefully forever, because every year we refresh the entire database and recommendation. So it's not only about being recommended 1 year, it's about maintaining the selection level. And as a chef, you can never take it for granted. But again, we hope that in the years to come, there will be more restaurants opening, talent blossoming, and that we will be also able very gradually to expand the footprint, starting from, let's say, the hotspots, Riyadh, Jeddah, but then going to Halula, the Eastern Province, and maybe more, depending where the restaurants will be. And the idea is to let no stone unturned.
If I can just, my grandmother's from the south, Abha. So if I can just put that place on the map, it's completely opposite of what you might expect Saudi to look like. It's green mountains and fog and rain, even as we speak. Talking 18, 19 degrees in the winter. They're very big on their culinary scene as well. So just want to bring that to your attention. Not just because my grandmother's from there.
But what is really interesting when it comes about food is the authenticity. What you can experience nowhere else. Because it's the reason people are today traveling for food. And if we talk just about the global trends, I have to say that more than ever, it is interesting to travel for food. And why? Because more than ever, the chefs are taking the liberty to create, being faithful to themselves, true to themselves, but also being inspired by their heritage, respecting local products, taking in inspirations, but turning their creation their own way. And that's a real trend. And it also contributes to the diversity of the restaurant's offering.
And honestly, we can't discredit the social media era, how that has enabled people to travel for food. Just seeing pictures and videos of restaurant A, you get on a plane and go see it there.
That's absolutely right. I think the social network played an important role to put the spotlight on the talents, to turn high cuisine, quality cuisine into a very popular topic. And the client have a real role to play. That's part of the catalyst. And I think for the Michelin Guide, it was also a real opportunity because we tend to broadcast our ratings and recommendation everywhere. Of course, for our own digital platform, web and applications, as well as social network. But then let's say the influencers and the guests themselves contribute to the amplification and they create their own story. And it's just something that is fascinating because it is really putting the spotlight on the topic. And if I have just to drop one marketing figure today, is to say that if you refer to all the international study about tourism, you will learn that about 50% of the Gen Z, so under 30 years old, when they travel abroad, they consider that food is the first reason to pick up one destination versus another. So it really matters when people are choosing where to go.
Probably determine which part of town they will choose their hotel in. Is it close to where the restaurants are or not?
It definitely, plays an important role. And sometimes it even comes, beyond or before nature and culture.
Yeah. I can't tell you how many home bakeries started from home in Jeddah, and I'm sure Riyadh as well. How many restaurants started from home, and through Instagram now they are brick and mortar. There's a famous one called there's this guy called Faris. Every day he used to take a picture of his breakfast and post it. And today Fatur Faris has a number of branches across Saudi Arabia, and it's basically Faris's breakfast. Just as an example of what social media has done in this era, where an idea from home has become a business with multiple locations.
I can't agree more because, and I think it's where also the Michelin Guide can combine with the social network is, when you're willing to open a restaurant, and especially an independently run marketing, you need awareness, you need the client, and in a way, it's a free marketing. Okay, it's not something you have to pay for, and then you can put your energy, talent, and resources in creating memorable food experience rather than spending your time and money in marketing.
What if someone asks you, what can Michelin do to support the local restaurants, the local culture? Is there an angle where Michelin could be instrumental there?
The first point for us is, again, the Michelin Guide methodology only focus on the quality of the food, but is doing that without any set numbers and quotas. So we are, again, really open-minded. That means that we can recognize food quality in a very simple, local, casual eateries, as well as in luxurious palace in a very sophisticated ambience. So that enable us to recognize, let's say, hidden gems, where you have just a local talent crafting extraordinary food experience with very little, capacities or resources, and really the talent matter. That's the key differentiation factor, because it's a very human-led industry.
Guys, hope you've enjoyed the episode so far. Just a quick message from one of our latest partners, which is Whoop. I've been wearing this device for the past 6 months, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I dropped some weight, 15 kilos to be exact. Yes, I'm counting. How? Well, today I'm able to track my strain, my recovery, my sleep, my steps. They have a new product that just hit the market called the Whoop Gen 5, whereby you're able to get instant ESG results. You're able to scan your heart. Something called Health Span as well that allows you to check what you're doing right and wrong on a daily basis, whereby it tells you what you should do more of and what you should do less of to help increase longevity and reduce the process of aging. I'm going to put the link in the show notes below. Check it out. It's join.whoop.com/Moshow. That's join.whoop.com/Moshow. Check it out, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the episode. Truly, and speaking of hidden gems, I went to Cabo in Mexico, which is a bit watered down compared to what real Mexico is like. And I remember me and my wife were there, and we were just having a few bites at the pool bar, like the guacamole, the sauces. And we were looking at each other, we were like, this is not normal. Mexico has come on the scene in the culinary world. I think there's a food truck that got a Michelin star, if I'm not mistaken.
No, but that's a very good example, because I had the pleasure, it was just last year, to reveal the first ever Michelin Guide selection for Mexico, starting with first 6 states over the country. And what was really fascinating there is we have been able to put a spotlight on restaurants that have been established for centuries, not only decades, with very old, ancient recipes, even related to old farming and preservation techniques. And I do remember something is, just a picture when all the chefs went on stage for the Michelin Revelation. There was such a diversity, in terms of profile. And I will say even in terms of ethnicity of the people, standing on the stage, with also a lot of women contributing to the industry. And it was really reflecting the diversity and, let's say, the history, the profound history of this food culture, which is definitely incredible and is gradually also expanding across the world.
Truly. For me, there's nothing like a taco or a burrito over there. I mean, you mentioned about produce and ingredients. That market has a produce and ingredients that is worth mentioning.
Yeah, and sometimes, agriculture is very careful about the environment, very old technique respectful, and you have good example of simple places that just deliver the extraordinary food and taste experience using a basic product, very affordable. So, even the quality is not about just a luxury product, and far from it. A product can be simple, accessible, local, but if it is tasteful and very fresh, it can make the whole difference. And it was really a very, very good example. And yes, we have a taqueria awarded with 1-star restaurants. And in addition to that, I think, the award and putting the spotlight has also a social impact. And rebounding on your example, because I have been there. And I can tell you when I asked, I told to my team, okay, I would like to go there personally. They say, really? But yes, why? It's maybe not a completely safe area. And I can tell you that this place will contribute to transform the whole surrounding.
What's something people get wrong about the Michelin star grading system? Is there something that you're always feeling that you have to correct the misconception or something that people misconstrue related to the Michelin star?
But frankly, there are a lot of myths and some misconceptions. The first one is people might think that Michelin is about luxury, it's about service, it's about setting, it's about art de la table. Whereas the Michelin Guide ratings really focused on the quality of the food. First one. The second one, some may think that there is a cultural bias because the Michelin Guide was born in Europe and in France. And today we have more than 30 different nationalities of inspectors. And I can tell you they can embrace all the different food culture of the world. And when we expand to a new destination, we acquire new talent just to be able to acquire the knowledge.
From that destination?
For the destination, for the region, or people having the food culture, regardless of the nationality, in fact. And so that I think the two main points. And I will say that to add something about the myth, sometimes people don't realize how professional you need to be an inspector. That if they are anonymous, is not just to create the myth and to create the story. It's because there is a real need for that. It's the only way to ensure that there is no bias when you enter a restaurant. Frankly, if I go to a place, I'm likely to be over-treated. But the VIP treatment is not what every people would get. So you need to avoid, that kind of bias. And so being anonymous is very important also to protect independence. And the Michelin Guide today is truly independent. So we are not working for the chef. We are working for the client. And the criteria that we use really enable us to recognize the quality of all the different food cultures.
Mm-hmm. End of the day, it's a credibility thing. You have mystery diners, anonymous diners, and that helps getting that fair treatment you touch on.
I think for me, if reflecting about the keywords, the Michelin Guide is all about consistency in terms of rating, in terms of methodology. And talking about the independence, it's very much about the value.
Okay.
And the Michelin Guide remain true to its original value, which are independence, professionalism, and open-mindedness. So it's also a question of ethic.
Is so like in Saudi, the Culinary Arts Commission headed by Mayad is under Ministry of Culture. Is the Michelin ecosystem under something similar out of France? Who supports it?
Depending where. As we discussed earlier, the Michelin Guide has an enormous impact to contribute to the food ecosystem and sometimes even beyond. So we establish a partnership with a public authority that could be a destination marketing organization, but sometimes just government. Okay, to help the Michelin Guide land in a destination. But what has to be said, it's, of course, we never compromise with the independence. And the choice of a destination is always an editorial choice from the Michelin Guide. We decided to go to Saudi Arabia because we see what is happening on the local culinary scene and what is about to happen. And then we say, okay, let's make it happen. And let's build something sustainable for the years to come. And then when we enter into discussion with Culinary Art Commission, for example, and we do the same in many countries. And I think their role is also to amplify the story. Once the selection is done and published on the social network and website, it's just a raw material. But it's an opportunity to tell a lot of other stories about the destination, to change the perception. So you need to broadcast, you need to amplify. And the reason why we need strong local partners that share not only the value, but also the vision.
In the 90s and early 2000s, in my city of Jeddah, there were 3 restaurants that I used to go out for. And I'm going to shout them out because it was part of my life. Toki, Chinese restaurant under the Leilati Group. Benihana and Lalo, which was Italian. 3. Today, there's probably 50 in 20 years. Did you guys take note of the culinary scene taking off in Saudi? Today, the 3 I mentioned, they are lost in a sea of 50 just in Jeddah. And Riyadh, you can probably times it by 2 or 3. Did you note that? Is that what made you guys enter this time?
That was definitely one of the factors. We have been established in the region for more than 10 years. And we have been monitoring the evolution of all the local markets. And yes, we have been really stunned by what is happening in terms of pace, but also in terms of quality and in terms of diversity. Because you have more and more restaurants. Yes, that's one point. But what about the value?
Yeah.
Okay. And also, what about the different flavors they are adding? Because it's good also to have a diversity. And it's all what we see today. It's creating the momentum. And it was definitely time to seize it. Because starting from today, with the real vision and the real program to put the destination on the world culinary map, we can definitely be an important catalyst.
It became a very attractive investment for Saudis. I mean, at one point, maybe 10 years ago, the number of burger places that were opening across Saudi, it was littered everywhere. The international chains were lost amongst some very, very good local ones. So in terms of investment for Saudis, it was a very attractive area of investment. I think that's where volume came through.
I think that you said it rightly. There is also a social aspect beyond all that. Yeah. We all have a role to play in transforming the food culture. Sometimes leading to people to eat out a bit more. To discover new food avenues, new concept, but also to make people aware about what good food is. Because when you are talking about restaurants, basically you are talking about good food, and when you are talking about high quality restaurants, you are talking also about healthy food.
Correct.
So I think it's also something we need to consider and to take very seriously.
I want people to go out more. A friend of mine who's in the delivery app business said that the numbers of takeout is too high. It needs to come down. And maybe it's a weather issue, but more and more I feel people are going out, but still the ratio of ordering in and ordering out, he told me it's about 40% on average is takeout. So I'd like to see that number go down.
So let's see if we based on the experience, because of course COVID period was a wake up call.
Yeah,
and I think it was an occasion to learn.
Yeah,
and in many destinations, what did happen? A lot of even the best chef in the world start to do home delivery. And I've been witnessing it very carefully because when things turn to the new normal, what happened? They all stop. Why? Because they were not able to serve in-house and delivery. And they realized that they were not able to create the same experience. And let's not forget as well that, let's say, home delivery, a significant part of what you will pay will go to the delivery and not to the food. So the best way to enjoy a proper food experience and putting the money on the food quality is to go out and eat out in restaurants.
Yes, be as closest to the oven as possible with a frying pan or whatever.
جديد اكسر الروتين مع أطباقنا الجديدة من بيتزا هات جدة. بيتزا هات جدة ذوق طعم الثقة معنا.
Have you tried some of our coffee? Not just the Saudi coffee, but some of the specialty coffee in the city?
I had that opportunity, and yes, that's part definitely of the culture. And when we talk about, let's say, the warm welcome, I think the coffee culture is part of it.
The standards are high in coffee. When I'm in Europe, I really look for the best coffee house because your standard, or in any other country, the standard coffee just won't do. I cannot have mainstream coffee houses after seeing how far we have come in the specialty coffee industry. It really is phenomenal.
Yes, and we are talking about food culture, but in a way, there is also beverage culture. And of course, there is a question of the pairing, but it's about recipes.
Yes.
It's about balance, harmony, and flavor, and all that. So for me, this is also a gastronomic experience.
Yes, truly. If you had a message to Saudi chefs, up-and-coming Saudi chefs who are stepping into this new era where Michelin Guide is now available on the ground, what would your message be to them?
Forget about the Michelin Guide. No, seriously speaking, I think it's important that the chef and their teams, they're just focus on pleasing their guest. They bring the best possible food experience. Among their guests, there might be an anonymous inspector. But if they are cooking with their art, they are delivering the best possible quality, we will recognize it. So let's not work to meet what they might think are in universal criteria and all that. Okay, if you are pleased with what you do, if you put your art, your soul, and you deliver a very authentic quality food experience, you would be recognized.
I would imagine that you've tried Saudi food. I think you're on your third day of your trip.
Yes, but it's unfortunately a short stay due to the context.
And what are your thoughts on the Saudi delicacy so far?
First, I'm always impressed by the generosity.
Are we talking portions?
I think in terms of portion, but even more than that, I think putting a lot of ingredients together, then you feel that it's tasty and it's really authentic. And again, what I do personally love when I'm eating out in restaurants is to find something, to experience something that's different than what I will be able to cook myself. So that's part of the discovery, that's part of a journey. And for me, eating out in restaurants is about culture. And over the past days, it's really what I experience here in Saudi.
It's also healthier. Like whenever I order in, it's me and my wife looking at a TV screen. But when we go out, we're communicating. So it's actually even healthier for your relationships, seeing friends, spending time with your spouse, to be out in a restaurant.
Definitely agree. And I think, even if you look at it on a global perspective, and in the context of today, that's even more relevant. Going out in restaurants is about sharing, meeting all the peoples, and discovering all the cultures. And in a nutshell, the dream of the Michelin Guide is also to bring all the different food cultures of the world at the same table.
I'll close with this. and one of my team members asked me to ask you this question. I didn't challenge him on why. What do these dates represent? October 15th, November 15th, and December 15th?
For me, this will be the very beginning of a long journey to put the culinary talents and flavors of Saudi on the world culinary map.
Well, thank you. Thank you for many things. Coming to Saudi, setting up the Michelin Guide over here, and giving me about an hour of your time. Really, really appreciate it. And I think only good things will happen with the presence of your team here on the ground. So thank you again for the opportunity.
Well, thank you for the warm welcome. And I can tell you that we are more than excited by this project.
Us too. Thank you, Gwendal.
Thank you so much.